Kieran, 2 weeks in a row. This is a person. Oh, I forgot mine.
Fuck. I didn't get one.
So what you're saying is you all got sent care packages. You could say that the Muay Thai Hour is sponsored by Reload Sports, and we were meant to have a triple flavor comparison on this episode.
I've already tried mine. It was excellent.
I don't know. I didn't get one, man.
Oh, shut the fuck. Yes, you did.
I did not. I don't do pre-workouts.
You actually didn't.
This is my pre-workout.
Mate, I saw you sent us all a photo in a group chat. We know you got it. Oh, no, that was Sai. Oh.
How are you guys feeling over the last couple of days emotionally after the Jada Pinkett thing and, the attack on the bald head?
If we did this podcast in person, I would do that to Sai every second week, man. Like, that would be a regular occurrence.
I know you're going to do something. You'd have to get up out of your high chair.
No, I would
get a
sleep
stool.
I would
bring your stool
sleep
over. Stand up on your stool.
You would look like that kid from The Exorcist, man. Your
relax,
Arnold.
Relax, Arnold.
I would sleep you.
You'd be
man.
like,
you are literally having one of these now.
I said I would do it on camera.
Oh, go.
I'm hanging out. I'm not going to dry. I said I'd dry skin, but I actually like the taste. So I'm going to sip throughout the episode.
Oh, I was going to say, how long does it take to kick in?
Shout out to our boys at Reload Sports. Get behind them.
We got
I did try some the other day. I should not ever have things like pre-workout. What was the one that was really popular a few years ago, Kieran? Jacked.
Oh, that was...
I had a triple.
That was meth.
My mate was a powerlifter. Just went, have this.
That was powdered meth right there, man. Jack was like, and then craze. That was because that 1,3-dimethylamine, which was essentially a precursor to speed, that got the TGA banned that like after 2 years of it being on the market.
Andrew, you'd be old enough. Do you remember Jolt Cola?
I do remember Jolt.
I used to drink a 1.25 liter bottle of that before uni.
Oh, man.
I love that shit. It was tremendous. The because everyone else is talking about it, the Oscars thing with Will Smith and Chris Rock. I love someone said it the other day. They're like, imagine if it was Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, presenting and made that joke. Do you reckon he would have made an exception and walked up and slapped him? Like, that's pretty funny.
Bill just would have laughed and gone, right on, man, right on.
Yeah, look at this.
All right, Andy, you can go first. I'm going to put a timer. It's going to be 30 seconds. You're going to tell us why or why not the slap was real or wasn't real. Ready? Go.
I don't think it was real because I think it's like one big setup aimed at a couple of things. One of the things is for Will Smith to come back around toxic masculinity and also to get everybody watching the Oscars again. Boom.
Man, you're starting to sound like a few of our friends, man. That was deep. You're going to be talking about Pizzagate and shit soon. All right, Si, ready? He did his in 20 seconds. Oh.
This message is from a friend and a member whose dad is a former Australian celebrity, and this is in tune with his thinking other stuff. Pfizer has an alopecia drug they're planning to release, and they just need to be sponsoring the Oscars. But he's serious.
Okay. Look, to be honest, it's a bit more. To be honest,
if they do have a alopecia vaccine, Pfizer, I'll be getting my daily booster shots to get my beautiful hair back.
So will Moy use Josh the Time Bomb Tonne. He's got the peach. We call it the peach. He's got the peach. Have you ever noticed? Patchy beard. Patchy.
Oh, don't know.
Yeah, he's got the peach. So
keep Tosh's name out of your motherfucking mouth, Kieran.
Look,
yeah,
I'm just gonna
go. Set the timer. Who's up? Go.
I think, dude, the dude's having a nervous breakdown. He's having a nervous breakdown.
Is that it?
Will Smith. But everyone do yourself a favor and go on to Andrew Schultz Instagram page or the Flagrant 2 podcast. He's done like a 3-minute piece. I sent it to you guys. I don't know if you watched it.
10 seconds.
Tremendous. That's the best thing to come out of
But
this.
it was real? You think it was real?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Who benefited out of that?
1-0.
Oscars.
I'm gonna side with Sol. I think it was real. I think he just snapped and just smacked the fuck out of him. Good on him. And people are like, oh, he had his chin forward and his hands behind his back and whatever. I just think he just wore the slap like a champ and didn't know what to do. And that's that. Why can't it just be what it is? Why does everything have to be something else? Can't we just enjoy stuff for once? Why do we have to think?
Can we just watch one man slap another man in public?
Can't we just, man, this is like the Russians made this a whole sport now. Like, can't we just fucking enjoy slapping another
30
man?
seconds is up, man.
Hey, moving on. Thai boxing, Muay Thai.
During your reload, because we've got a 73-hour show to talk about, and it wasn't even mine. One championship.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a cooker. Hey, and then I'm assuming immediately after we'll talk about David Penelope versus Yusuf Buganum. However, I only really watched. I thought we would finish our show quite early so I could watch. I think I managed to start watching the last round of Murat and Superbon. And Superbon was just like teeping the fuck out of him and just controlling him.
I thought you were going to be fighting way earlier than what you were.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. No, anyway, one, do you want to run through it?
I started from the first fight and I made it all the way to the main event. And I fell asleep for the main event.
Same.
Oh,
I think I fell asleep. Actually, I fell asleep through a couple of bits of the Superbon fight, but man, it's late at night for me. I'm asleep by 9:40 most nights.
Grappling, so
Sorry.
nothing.
It was good. Like overall, like you have mixed expectations when there's MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, and submission grappling. Which, speaking of which, is my matchmaker for my grappling event calling. So I went for someone who actually likes grappling. I found the idea of putting it in an event like that risky, as in people might zone out. But when you think about it, if you've got a 12-hour or whatever event, if every fight is just a ball breaker, like you're going to get adrenaline fatigue watching it.
Yeah.
And, like, I think the women's grappling fight wasn't super exciting. I enjoyed watching the Andre Galvao match. But yeah, like the rest of it, there was so much goodness in that whole show. It's not even funny.
Now, a lot of the big name ties lost across all of the shows, didn't they? I mean, Superbon obviously won. Rod Tongue and DJ had that, so he lost. There was Capitan lost to Akimoto, which I didn't think would happen. I thought that was quite a surprise.
He got buzzed up real bad.
Stamp obviously lost to Angela Lee.
She got wrapped up like a pretzel.
But when she hit her with that body shot, I was fucking cheering.
So what's your problem with Angela Lee?
I like Angela Lee. She's awesome.
I don't mind her.
Aaron, did you ask for an autograph at one of the shows and you got?
No, never been at the same. Oh, actually, no, I think I've been at one of the same shows as her. One championship places the Lee family on a very big pedestal, and I know they're good, but like they're not unbeatable. Okay. Yeah, that's all.
Are you saying that Angela Lee is behind the marketing at One Championship, or is the efforts of One Championship independent of her as a person? And then why would you take joy in her suffering?
Oh my God. Did those words really come, you of all people, did those words just come from your mouth? Jesus. All right, mate, moving on. It's MMA. This is the Muay Thai hour. So yeah, I thought it was a few good shows. I've rewatched some of the fights. Main card was cool.
Nongo and Felipe.
So let's talk about the controversy, because a lot of people have pointed out that Nongo was like Chatri looked very annoyed and unimpressed when he placed the belt on Nongo's shoulders, and Nongo was apologizing to him.
Yep.
Because
he wasn't. He didn't fight the way that he was supposed to have fought on one. He fought too technical, apparently.
No. How was that?
I can believe that.
That's what I heard. And also, did he make weight?
Was it the weight?
He did, as far as we know from what was shown on the stream, his first weigh-in attempt and hydration attempt was failed. Well, his hydration, you don't get to check weight if you fail hydration. So you then have until 4 o'clock that same day to make weight, and pass hydration. And if you don't, you then have to do it the following day, which is a fight day at 10 a.m.
How do you? I don't get it. If you've already cut a lot of water weight and you don't pass the hydration,
They make you drink 1.5 liters of water.
So then you technically can't pass it anyway.
And then try again.
But then you're going to be overweight. I don't get it.
The system is gamed.
Yeah.
No, we're not talking about some high-level trickery here. We're just basically saying you made weight, but you're dehydrated. Now get hydrated. Doesn't that completely...
And then cut the weight. But all it's testing, all the refractometer does is tests the hydration levels in your kidneys. It doesn't test your complete body hydration.
100%. But if you drink 1.5 liters of water,
it's a kilo.
You've put on weight.
To the point that you need to go to the toilet, you then hold on to that and then you sweat it out.
I understand, Kieran, but the person is now heavier.
Yeah, but then they go, yeah, I know, absolutely. The person is heavier. However, they will then be at a point that they're quote unquote hydrated according to the piss that they put in the cup. They will then go and sweat and cut back down to get underweight.
That's what we're saying. So you have to make.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You still have to make weight, but they say, look, go drink. You got to drink and then try again. You've got until 4 o'clock.
So you got to do a double water cut. And
the point being that you're
yourself in more day.
Yeah.
So I guess if he got the belt, he must have
passed hydration.
He must have passed everything. And then saying he fought too technically, like he was icing the dude. Like I felt bad for the guy. He was like,
well, he says he's going to have another 3 fights, isn't he now?
Yeah, and I'm saying like I wouldn't say he was fighting so technical and didn't go out hard. I thought he put on a clinic. Yeah. But everyone I know who watched that, like, just thought that was a great, like a scary, dominant, great performance by him.
And I wonder though that they are trying to appeal to quote unquote the masses and the entertainment sport. And whilst we all and a lot of our friends like appreciate the absolute technical brilliance of Nongo, the expectation is that that's not entertainment to everyone as much as just having a fucking smack on it and
bashing someone. But and then that's credit to Lipe. That he didn't let him do that. So
and I also
even
but I don't think it was a technical fight for the points thing. He went out the whole time trying to knock him out. You can't all of a sudden become a barroom brawler.
Don't know, man. Let's get Chatters as the next. Let's get Chatry as the next guest.
Yeah, bring him up.
Well, you message Timo. Timo would never come on because he would just not answer a single one of our questions. I've had that. I've been there whilst we've been checking apparel in person in Singapore, and Timo's like, I'm not answering that. I'm not answering that.
I love it. I hit him up about so many things.
It's going to go straight onto the podcast with hundreds of thousands of viewers.
But also shout out to Tim at Revolution and Felipe Lobo. I notice he calls him Felipe a lot. Is that not to get confused with the other Lobo Brazilian? Is that why he makes a point to call him because I was just calling him Lobo like his last name.
Used to be Lobo.
Yeah, is it because of the other Lobo? Is the other Lobo is that the other Lobo's first name?
Not sure.
The Lobo that we know from Phuket Fight Club, is his first name Lobo or his last name?
Lobos.
I don't know. Anyway, so shout out to them. And then, of course, the one and only Mr. John Wayne Park. Congratulations on your retirement fight, man?
Yeah, it was actually like, although I didn't support that happening, it was fucking emotional build up, man. Like I'd also had a couple of beers, but even before that, like on the Friday, the interview was mad. And like I've, as a young guy training and like watching him do his thing and reading about him in international kickboxer, it made you want to go out and do that yourself. And like we all like it motivated me to the like as much as anybody did in all my career. And watching him go through like this, the 8-man at back then with Skabowski and stuff, and then Contender, and actually I even remember Art was here when we first moved to Australia. She got free English lessons, and she did her assignment like on John Wayne Parr. Like it was like, you know, and it was emotional seeing all of that, and then kind of reliving it, and then watching him go out there again. Like I don't know. Like I'm in two minds about the fight again, but the actual like reliving everything was like really cool, and the way that he did it in the end with the gloves in the middle. Although I would have preferred a pair of proper gloves in the middle. That's the traditionalist in me. Yeah, it was emotional, man. Like, yeah.
It's hard because there's people who are massive John Wayne Parr diehard fans. There'd be people who are not like his biggest fans back in the day when the rivalries were on, all that stuff. But I don't think I find it hard to believe that any Australian who follows Muay Thai wouldn't have got emotional about it. And like, it's not my business to say or to have an opinion on it, but I'd hope that he'd retired 4 or 5 years ago, but he's not the first or the last fighter. But like the Nicky Holtzkin fight made me really sad because I felt like that he was like a shadow of himself. And then this fight, that last minute of that fight was like, fucking John Wayne Parr, go, you sick cunt. Like,
go.
Yeah.
And it was like, and like you said, Andy, when I think the first time he retired was in CMT. And I was like, man, I like part of me just wants Wayne to like, again, not my business to say, but like you'd wish he'd go back to like Thailand and they'd give him a retired fight at Raja or something.
Yeah.
Or like a big Queensland.
He
was so like he did so much on Evo. Like if there could be a big Muay Thai show in Queensland, nowhere else. And they did it, and he had a retirement fight and bring out another like legend of it, like that. We'd be like, oh man, this will be they're both at the end of their career and sick even Muay Thai fight. Would have loved to seen that. Yeah. And then when he did the Mundine fight, it was the same. I was like, oh. Like I remember they announced Jono was emceeing at Rebellion when he was fighting, and he announced that John Wayne Parr just beat Mundine.
I remember that.
The video, everyone's like, ah!
I remember that.
Like, cool. And but the fight in the end was really fitting. But yeah, like you said, it would have been sick if it was like in Queensland and with everyone there. But fuck, man, it was like you couldn't not get emotional. It's like, Jesus, Wayne Parr.
I reckon if Chatri would have picked up the phone, Sobowski would have just gone, oh yeah, all right. Like, surely, if anyone is just gonna be like, yeah, sure, whatever, surely it would have been him. Could you imagine? It's like, Chatri, put him in 8 or 10 ounces, like put him in 10s. Like
the legends. Remember when they were doing that? It's called Moyong Yut, the old men fighting. So remember they were doing him at Rajan and Lumpini a few years back. Big That would be fucking mad.
How cool would that have been, eh? Like old S1 days or something. Put some old, like, yeah, that would have been cool. But good, mate. I mean, the thing is, there's always something else, isn't there? There's always another way you could have done something. There's always another person you could afford. And I think it's more so a reflection. And I think we've had this conversation on the podcast before about knowing when it's time for people to retire, but it's about like the journey and the whole career, not just about the way that you finish. And that is why we all got emotional watching it, because it's a guy who we've so fondly admired for however long we've been invested in this sport, which is an incredibly long time. So, yeah.
And for what it's worth, that is currently outside of the UFC and like Matchroom Boxing, the biggest combat sports platform in the world. And that was their biggest show. And he went to go out on it.
Awesome.
You know, and the guy he fought was a little bit older as well. Like he wasn't like a pure technical Muay Thai fight as such, but yeah, well, amazing. And then Rod Tang versus, we'll go to our MMA analyst, Andrew Parnham.
Is Singh Payak there to talk on the MMA round?
Unfortunately not. I'd love to pull him in on that one just to see what he would have done versus what he wouldn't have done. But man,
I would have tapped earlier, not go to sleep.
Man, that was wow. Like, and I just like the way that Mighty Mouse didn't like run as much as I thought he might have. I thought he was going to run more, but he exchanged a few and then, man, you just knew, like, second round, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like, the spectacle was mad because it reminds me of those old days where it's just like a guy in a gi versus a guy with boxing gloves on, Street Fighter styles and shit.
Oh, yeah.
But I understand the difficulty in matching an MMA novice with someone like him. And
Sure.
like, what do you do? I mean, Sam Bark's gone through it all, and apparently it was pretty hard to get him matched over there. And a lot of people kind of fear, from what I hear anyway, strikers are a little bit harder to match in the novice level MMA circles. Might be wrong, but that was like while it was a good spectacle.
It's matching. If you get amateur MMA and low-level MMA that like Sam was fighting, because Sam had a couple of amateurs and then he turned pro. Getting a high-level striker is hard to match. Getting an Olympic wrestler is hard to match. Getting a jiu-jitsu mundial, like you're bringing someone who's that much ahead in against someone like who's had
Jack of all trades, master of none.
There was back in the day here before they changed the rules at the Pampaks and stuff. I had friends who were like, I had a friend who was second in the world in juniors under 20s in wrestling, and they put him in, and he came in and he got a judo black belt as well, and they put him in the Pan Pacific Jiu-Jitsu Championships against some white belts.
Yeah.
And it's like you literally have guys who, no offense to accountants, but like some accountant dude who's taken jiu-jitsu recreationally for 6 months, and his first comp he goes against Talgett, who's like would literally launch half of Australia on their head. It's like, well, I'm a white belt. So
and the same thing happened recently too on the one Eternal card, Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
So he had to fight an experienced MMA guy because obviously, I mean, he was a WBC Muay Thai world champion. And then you also had Rocky, right? Rocky Ogden, and he fought a boy from the Compton Training Center who was also a decent MMA fighter.
But an ex-Muay Thai fighter, yeah.
And it was, so yeah, exactly. So it was the same again. It's like those two boys are incredibly skilled, like kickboxers or Muay Thai fighters. They can't just go and take a dude with no fights. But how about call DJ the Iron Man? Man, the way he wore some of those shots, when he threw that right hand, I was like,
oh, shit. That was mad. That was so good. And then round two, just saw Rod Tongue running. I've never seen him go backwards before.
That was sick. And although the one that we should end on, and we've missed it, was who I understand now is Sudsukorn's brother knocking out Volskin.
Man, I bet against him. I didn't know who the fuck he was. I just thought it was another person, another Glinme. But wow, he fucking smoked him.
Amazing. The
best part of that was that it wasn't like he clinched up and kneed him, didn't knock him out with an elbow. Like he threw 2 elbows in there, but not even that much. He kind of just pushed in with a little bit just to put the fear into him. But it was like, man, there was no clinching. That was basically almost kickboxing with little gloves. Even when they clinched up, he didn't dump him. He didn't do anything. He just basically waited until they separated him. It was like, other than the fact that you had to fight in MMA gloves, Nikki, you can't complain about that fight.
Man,
hopefully he cuts his hair after that one. I think you've worn out the hippie, and then now you cut the hair. You're a professional fighter. Let's go.
His whole all the yunt on his back was done by the same Ajahn that has done some of mine and Aram's. He's in Bangkok. And I saw his Facebook the next day, and he was absolutely cheering, putting photos of him doing yarn on him and everything. Like, he was just absolutely loving it, man. It was.
And so he's at Venom as well, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because I saw a post from Mayorty.
Fairly new to Venom.
Okay, because I saw a post from, is it Mayorty? How do you pronounce it? Mehdi?
Eddie, yeah.
How's your friends go? So?
Mehdi.
Mehdi. He said like he's super proud. It's his first TIE fighter or something. So whether he's bought a contract or not, but that's mad.
Yeah, that was yeah, really cool. So shout out to him.
And so how was Queensland?
Wait, hey, shout out to Nick Atkins for his last minute pivot on what was meant to be a fully outdoor show. On both Friday and Saturday. I can't relate. I'm sure for you two, you can understand I can appreciate the pain. I can't understand it like you two might, but he was to have a boxing show on the Friday. He does the Want to Be a Boxer, a bit like Wim to Warrior, and had some other boxing, had an Australasia WBC boxing fight with Brooke Cooper and a girl from New Zealand. Then on the Saturday, he was to do what's normally like quite an amateur kids and development show Andy and I have both been to before. And then on the night show, Want to Be a Kickboxer. So some of those, again, similar program mixed in with some of the pro fights. And on Friday, I have never seen that much rain in Queensland in that shorter period of time. And any time I've been there, it was, and much to his credit, like he was keeping it pretty cool. We were all packed into the MX warehouse. They were frantically rushing around, but yeah, they
fought it. Been raining a lot in Queensland the last month and a bit.
Well, yes. However, it looked as though that was meant to be over, but it.
Oh no!
And it, yeah, they found a new club. They managed to change it all around. We did the weigh-ins that night, and it all went ahead on the Saturday. I know there were some people like Richard Walsh, shout out to him, who helped Nick, and a few others up there. So that managed to just turn it around and get it all done. The Croatian club out at Carrara, which was a pretty sick little venue. And that I actually think it was for the better, if I'm going to be honest, because the venue
sounded loud.
It was, I fucking have not, I just haven't heard a crowd like that in a long time, man. Sick. It was because there were all the fights, but when Davey's fight happened, there were a lot of like French Algerian and guys like from Belgium or whatever, like quite a few people supporting Yusuf there. And a lot of guys supporting Davey. And then at the end, like just supporting both of them. It didn't really seem to matter. And I genuinely have not heard a crowd like that. And I think it was because of the acoustics, that you had the fact that everyone was into the fight, because realistically, neither person had the full gym support that a show might not normally have. So it was kind of like people were almost picking sides. We obviously had some people travel up. We spoke to some got like some, they had a French accent who said that they were there to support Yusuf. And it just seemed like every single person picked someone to go for. And that was that. And it was just, and the acoustics and fuck, man.
What was the capacity? Like, I know with the outdoor one, you can jam heaps of people into that thing, but
it felt like sardines, man. It felt like sardines for sure.
Sick.
And
what was the weight at? 74?
74.
Yusuf big in the body, eh?
Hey?
Yusuf is big in the body, eh?
Yeah, well, we came in under and Yusuf had to cut at the weigh-in.
There you go. So last week you mentioned
wasn't he like 73?
Your guts on what he will. Sorry, go.
What was Davey at? 73.4 or something?
Yep. Yeah. So Davey will now, we're gonna put Davey super middleweight, 72.5. Gonna start towards that. Yeah, middleweight, whatever.
You said you'd give up what he was, how he was coping with the weight cut last week.
He was great. Like he was maybe like 77, I want to say. fit, strong, no fatigue. Came in 73.4, like no problem.
Yeah, there we
No,
go.
very
One more
like
to go.
little bit of a sweat, but not much. Just and good. Like he felt amazing on weigh-in day at 73.4. So the next one will be 72 and a half is a good division. That was a tester for me to see how he was, because it obviously was uncharted territory. Davey had never fought below 76. Realistically, like there's sort of been time, but in the past when he's gone towards that weight, he's felt terrible.
Yeah.
But now his body composition has changed quite a bit. So he made that comfortably, but I wanted to make sure as a coach and someone who has responsibility for his health that he could make 74 okay. And if I thought he could then make 72 and a half. And based off of that, I know that he can. And he's good for me too, because then I'm not stuck wondering between two weight divisions.
Yeah.
I comfortably know now that he can be a 72 and a half kilo fighter.
Sick.
And he's got he's got a clear path.
We saw some interesting moments officiating wise. We love to have a bit of a chat around officials. So the rope grabbing,
Yes.
and Yusuf showed some fucking proper experience from people who grab the ropes. Well, the only other way to get them off the ropes is to throw them over the ropes because they're hanging over it. He did it a few times. So I think that's just a real sign of like experience that you just can't buy, really. Like to be so aware as to do that. It was
Yusuf is one of the best in the world, not just because of his technical ability, but the way he plays the entire game. Even before he steps in the ring, there was already a psychological element. Like his song had a very slow build up. Yeah. Like it took him 3 minutes to get in the ring. Yeah. He got in the ring, the way he carried himself.
Like a champ.
Yeah, like when he came to sealing the ring, when it came to like beginning the Ramoy, like obviously Yusuf is Muslim, so that it is slightly different, but it would always be, he would do those things. He would force Davey to do everything first. And those sort of things, and just the way he carried himself, the way he would look at Davey, like it was incredible to witness. Yeah, and then for the fight too, I knew when the fight ended that we hadn't won. There was not, I didn't think.
We weren't sure.
I thought, and I'm going to be honest, and we'll say it on the podcast, I thought we could get what we call a Queensland decision. Like, I'll be honest, like that's what I'm going to call it. But the reality is for Thai boxing, Davey did, because he didn't perform well in the clinch, and there was a couple of those unanswered Yusuf famous left kicks and step up left knees, which just Davey had some times he would return back, and we train for these things, but as we all know, it's different when you're in there. And absolutely plenty of foul on the hold of the rope. I don't think that it was a second flip out of the ring. I understand we were doing that, but there's a lot more weight in completely flipping someone out of the ring versus holding. And that comes down to the control that the referee has on the fight and or their ability to be positioned correctly to stop something like that. Positioning is a massive thing. And I think that's something that we miss a bit in Australian Thai boxing, is referee positioning and the control. So, but for me as a trainer, there's so much I love watching the fight, and it was amazing, but I love watching Yusuf. Like, it was incredible. He was talking to the judges.
Yeah, it's mad.
At one point he spoke to the judges when Davey held the ropes. Like, he went over the ring. It was like, he's holding the ropes. Like, stop. But this was another part of his game. And he's just so smart, and he's Yusuf booging him for a reason, right? And all those little things. It wasn't just the technical aspect, it was the whole game, and it was awesome. But it was great for Davey. Like, Davey cut Yusuf. That's an accomplishment in and of itself. and there was a couple right hands, which we were told after did rock Yusuf. Like he rocked Yusuf. So those two things, regardless of the result, are massive to take away, because not a lot of people can say that they've done that, have cut and rocked Yusuf Buganum.
Yeah, I mean, we were watching it together online, like we were chatting on the phone at the same time, and like it was like, man, like he wasn't just getting like dominated in the physical sense where he looked like the fight was like there was always he had a shot in there to do something. Yeah, getting thrown over the ropes the first time was like, and then the second was like, But I think as much as we've seen him fight, like watching him with Davey and the way he was just the left kicks, like we were just both the whole time. I was like, how fucking good is his left kick?
Awesome.
It was just like, no. But for a fight like that with Davey's one of my most experienced guys, Yusuf. And again, not to offend anyone, you just want like Elias in there or Trevor in there, because even, getting the towel out to wipe someone's face in the middle of the round while they're still fighting, wipe the blood off their face. I'm like, man, am I missing something?
Well, the part that me as a trainer, I was playing the game too. The minute I saw the cut, because we know how big a component damage is in Thai boxing, I was yelling at the referee for about 30 seconds, check the cut. Yeah. Look at the cut, check the cut. Like I was berating it at him in the hope that he would be taken to a doctor, because that would be such a dominant moment for us. And I was playing the game because, and I've got I'm not for a minute saying that there's a difference between someone who I'm saying there's a bad referee versus someone who needs more experience as a referee, because we all are somewhere in our career. Yeah. I don't think that the experience of the referee is yet to be suited. Do I think they could referee a fight of that caliber one day? Absolutely. Do I think that they were prepared to, like with the skill that they have? I don't think so. No, I think there are very few referees around that can do the caliber of it. And I think that,
that's true though. But I reckon you can get someone to do one of Andy's officiating courses in New South Wales and know that in the middle of a professional fight, a referee can't just grab a towel and in the break just wipe the blood off their face. Like that's, I mean, you have the extreme end of like a combat sports body in America where it's like you can have 17 yards of tape and gauze and you can put this here and then you got to do this and there's an extra person in. That's one extreme end. I think most states have a basic passable limit of officiating of this is what you can do with hand wraps and this is what you to blatant, like in a professional fight sport where a cut can stop a fight because blood's coming to the guy's eye, to literally go. And I've seen them do it heaps before where they just in the middle of round, not even stopping. It's just like, wipe your face and go. It's like, where's that fucking towel been, dude?
Yeah. Or also just towel. Like interfering with the cut in itself. Like if you, like it's a
maybe could have made it worse.
Wipe it. Oh, it's open more. Mad.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
but then the other side of it is China, like where they've got a no blood rule on TV where you literally, as soon as you bleed, you're out.
Yeah. So, I mean, I played the game trying to get something from that. And, I mean, the cut wasn't even that big. The cut was pretty small. It was pretty small. Like, but I was fucking man. I must have yelled check the cut about like 17 times. He's probably just wanted me to shut up.
And there was a count. Does a count on a trainer go down as a count on a round? Where does that go?
I'm okay. So is that my question for you, Andy? You might be able to answer that. Is that an IFMA thing? I feel like there is. Because really,
I think that exists for. I think that actually exists for pros in some sanctioning as well, where you can get warned to get out, and then if you don't get warned out, they count. They give you a certain amount, like they warn you out, and then they can deduct the point. But I don't think the count necessarily makes it like a 10-8 round or a point off automatically. I think they can count, and it's like if you're not out, then it's like all right,
then a point off
fighter or get the fuck out of here.
I mean, similarly, a 20 in some sanctioning bodies, and this goes in boxing as well, is that and I think it might even be in the Sports Authority rules, but there's when a fighter falls out of the ring, a 20 count has to be made by the referee. So there's even things like that which are often missed as well, right?
Unless your tag team partner distracts you and you hit him in the back with a chair, and then the 20 count gets extended. But that event was a WMC show, yeah, Andy?
Not sure.
It was WMC saying. Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, I'd be interested to know that as well. I was a bit confused. I didn't know what it was because I was focusing on Davey. And I got out of the ring and I looked over and the Thai corner and the Thai trainer with Yusuf was like, was a bit confused. But
no.
Don't you wish sometimes we wouldn't, as the three of us and some other friends, not even think about the other shit that the referee and stuff does and just be able to 100% enjoy the fight? Like you're watching it and it's like, it's like, oh, they did this. It's ruined. Wrong. It's ruined the experience for me.
But when I was just like, he's just asking about the throws. He's like, man, he's grabbing the rope, and then it's like, go back, 1, 2, 3. I thought, whoa, okay. Anyway, that's it.
It's like you brought your girlfriend over to meet your family, and you're just worried they're going to do something embarrassing. It's like you brought Yusuf out to Australia. Please don't do something embarrassing, please.
I'd also I mean, I've ref a lot of fights, and you get excited sometimes, and
also, I mean,
pumping and
it's also
on the opposite end of that as well. So.
It's intimidating to referee a fight of that caliber too. I mean, much like people do, I mean, it doesn't excuse there's still a job to be done, but much like, I know referees get nervous, much like even big professional fighters do sometimes.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Yeah,
I mean, speaking of nerves and refereeing, shout out to our mate Elias. Having to referee, like,
I would not have wanted to ref that, but afterwards you can say he refed his last fight. So it's like a double-edged sword.
Fuck.
But it's like, as an Australian, you're reffing an Australian legends fight. If you stop the fight early, everyone in Australia hates you. If you stop the fight late, everyone in Australia hates you. Like, lucky it was a relatively incident-free thing, right?
Yep.
But that's just you. That's like, wow. That's I don't know. You can't. Why? Oh fuck. I even think about. Oh man, I can't even. I just can't. Like, even when Ilias has to, like, Ilias has refereed some of Josh's fights and won, and I've gone, fuck, Aussie and Aussie. Like, man, go get one of the other guys. Put Ilias as the dude who checks them before they walk in or something. Like,
where's the guns? Any guns? Gun check, knife check,
guns, knives. Nothing. No. Okay.
But where does that come from, guys? Where does the
MMA?
Yeah, I know, but where does the MMA check come from? Is that like from the good old days where it would be like?
No. So I'll tell you a story. The first AFC in Melbourne Australian Fighting Championship, my mate Ross Dallow fights in it, and Ross was one of the most popular MMA fighters in Australia, and I was cornering him, and they brought out an American guy that was untough. And Ross was meant to get cleaned up, right? And Ross ends up basically giving it to this dude. And at the end of the round, the guy is just buggered. The referee comes over and says something. The referee comes over and goes, oh, they're saying that you guys have rubbed oil on him. That's why he's slipping out of the stuff. And I'm like, we're not. Goes back, comes back. He goes, all right, wipe him down for the next round. And I've got this fucking towel that I used to take to all their shows that was just like a corner towel, not like for blood or anything, but we used to, like, if you put ice. So I'm like, we had a little, and the guy goes, no, just grab that big towel. I'm like, all right, I wipe Ross down. He walks over to the other corner, comes back, sweat, plus a towel that's been used for Muay Thai before. What do you reckon it smelled like all of a sudden? Oh. They're like, oh, you've got Thai oil on him. They DQ'd him, right?
Oh, what?
And this was, I've never been in an MMA corner ever in my life, right? This is the first MMA show in Melbourne. And Dr. Lewis comes up, rubs Ross's forearm on his eyes and goes, "This man doesn't have liniment on him." It got so bad. And then the board, well, and apparently there was a rules meeting. None of this stuff's been clarified. And we got like, and they said to me, "Oh, this was back in the day when they hadn't really done the trainer register." Like, "Oh, you need to register as a trainer because we might have to suspend you." I was like, "Yeah, I'm on it." And it was 100%. There was no liniment. This dude came out. He went too hard. Ross is tough. But that's what they're meant to do. So you don't put like oil and stuff on you. So that's what they're checking, is that you're not
feeling for
oiled up, anything that you're going to rub into the eye and stuff. But it was just like, man.
Meanwhile,
learn something every day.
Muay Thai fighters are fucking 3-fingering Vaseline before they fight and just
Love it.
get everywhere.
And that's what I said. I was like, I'm telling you, a bit of Thai oil isn't making this dude blind, because he's in the corner going like this. And like Tony Del Vecchio was for some reason in his corner, and he comes over and he goes, "Oh, sorry about that, man." I'm like, "It's nothing sorry. He's not blind from Thai oil." I'm like, "Dude, you know how much oil goes into people's faces? Like if you put it on someone's eye, but from actual like clenching and stuff, how many people go, 'Oh, I can't see anything'?" It's like we would have
an empty change room.
And I think that's an interesting conversation point for one time, is like, a lot of people see sometimes when we do pre-fight massage for Thai boxers, and you've got two schools of people. Like sometimes like you've got the guys who just use Namoi, and you've got the others who use Vaseline and Namoi, right? And especially, yeah, me too. Especially if you spend time in Thailand, like, you know, like it's like a boom. And I've had someone ask before, like, "Oh, why is that guy more shiny than that guy?" You know, and I go, "Well, he's just been rubbed down in Namoi and he's had the Vas before."
He's had a bath in Vaso.
Dude, it's changed over the last few years, but up until 5 years ago, do you remember when Don's guys used to come out and it was like every referee would just be like, I was looking back going, "Don, like they're just gonna wipe it up." They were like, one full bottle of Vas, one full bottle of oil.
Yeah, it's interesting because then like I think it's WA. I don't know. Then you go in there and you waste your time putting it all on, and then you'll get it
Then they cover off.
Like,
yeah.
Oh man! Now even wipe the Vas off the face. Sweet.
Yeah, the whole
same
lot,
towel
mate.
that's wiped all the oil off the fight before. Put that in your eyes. Anyway, but yeah.
Shout out to one of the Victorian Amateur Boxing League's best referees, who used to always tell me off for Vaseline and tell me to wipe it off. I'd wipe more Vaseline on and he'd look at it and go, "Good," and walk away. I was like,
I'm going to do that tonight. I said to Choc, "Can we bring Thai oil tonight?" He's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Can we watch this fight somewhere?
I'll just go Instagram live, man. It's only, yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful.
So Choc's boxing tonight at what weight?
66.0.
All
and
right.
you said the other dude missed weight for a couple of hours.
It was pretty funny. Choc didn't have to cut any weight at all, so he can get down pretty low. But yeah, we'll see how we go.
Good luck.
Yeah,
He's already had one boxing fight in New South Wales, hasn't he? And he won. They robbed him,
they fucking flat out robbed him. He it's just counterboxing like a legend, and
Boxing's not corrupt. What are you talking about?
yeah, and then afterwards, I remember someone was saying they were getting real dirty because he's listed as an orthodox, but he fought southpaw, and I was like, so we had a strategy change. Okay, sorry.
Boxing's fucked, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cyber. Boxing's fucked.
I love boxing, man.
No, but like,
what are you apologizing to me for? I'll say it every day. Boxing is fucked.
Yeah, but it was interesting. So yeah,
boxing as a sport is beautiful. Boxing as a business is horrendous.
Yeah. So we'll see how we go tonight. It's going to be an interesting one. So Thursday night special. Shout out to everybody for looking after the gym for me tonight.
Shout
out. Oh man, staffing. Hey, how about WA? They're going through some shit. Everyone's gyms are closing and stuff like that. For like just for like COVID reasons, or shut down for isolation and have to open up again. So I guess they're just going through what we went through last year or early in the year. So
shout out and much love to Frankie from Diesel Gym, who has made the hard decision to have to close the doors of Diesel Gym. I can only imagine that would be pretty rough, man. So yeah. like regardless, we obviously don't know any reasons behind it, but man, shout out. Like even if you voluntarily chose to do it, it would still be emotionally quite a hard thing, because Diesel's been around for a while across here. So shout out to Frankie and the crew. But congratulations.
Diesel didn't make such a big, busy gym out of luck. And, you know, like if you've done it once, you can do it again. And I've had really wealthy people tell me that. They're like, you can go bankrupt even if you're a billionaire, and you can build it up. You can lose a business. It's like anything. And what I said to you, I guess, the other day, guys, like part of it, you go, it would be devastating. But as being people who run businesses and it's just so life consuming, sometimes having to do it, it's like a relief. And like you might, you know, I don't know how he's feeling about it, but might be an opportunity to do something else that he wants to do in life. Sometimes we get married into these things and we can't, you know, like I remember the people who owned Red Scooter, the guy who owned it, he was trying to sell it for a couple of years before COVID. And then when COVID hit, he just walked away. And I said, do you feel relieved? He goes, yep, feels like my hand was forced. And it was this thing I wanted to be out of forever. Yeah. And now he's got this beautiful country pub that he's renovating and running that, like from one thing to another.
Yeah.
Well, you'll catch Andy on his farm in Chiang Mai in about 20 years.
Hopefully not northern New South Wales at the moment.
Yeah, not Ballinaco all the way, man. Just keep flying north, eh?
Yeah, I'll be out next week. Are we going? I don't know if I'm willing and able to do a podcast from overseas. Maybe I will.
We'll get a guest on. Who can we get on? Can we get a guest, Andy?
Elias?
Can Chalk do it?
I say we just. Can we get Singh Payak and Chalk together, please?
Can we do the MMA hour with Singh?
Yes.
I want any pure Muay Thai person to just analyze that MMA fight for me and give me their theories on it.
It'd be so good, man. But yeah. See how you go. Chalk will always be funny. I always wanted to get him on here as well. Singh's also, I mean, the language is good enough to do that type of stuff. The humor is good.
Wonderful misunderstanding at the last Siam to Sydney. He was talking about fighting and when can he fight again? I threw out a name. Then he said, yeah, great, very good, really good fighter. And we kept going. I'm like, okay, can you make that weight? And he goes, why me? I was like, why did you think I brought the name up? And Chuck and Daniel Barber said, what did you think we were talking about? You asked him fight. He gave you an opponent. He goes, oh, no, not me.
Oh, shit. All right. Yeah. Sing the MMA hour with Singh Payak. I'd like to take part in that. That'd be
the funny one.
With coach's corner.
I'll tee it up. I got the computer here. Beautiful PC. Nothing to interfere with a Mac, but
anyway.
Do
we have any final thoughts? Do we have any final words? Domestically, internationally?
No, we've got what's the next show coming up? We've got Muay Thai League and Hammer's show next week.
Yep. Muay Thai League next weekend. Kim Townsend versus Celeste.
Yes.
Celeste for the WBC World Title at
SRG got a show in April, late April too. So that'll be
1774. The boys at 1774 will be back soon as well. Siam to Sydney will no doubt be back shortly also. Roots and or Rebellion also be back. Plenty more
Roots
trouble.
and Rebellion, May 28th.
What's this one called?
Kaya.
All right. To each their own. All right.
What do you mean? That's what they're named after. What do you want me to do?
No, I know, but like.
Oh, is that a song?
No More Trouble
it's my wife's favorite. It's my wife's favorite Bob Marley song.
Oh, so yep. Before we close off, big shout out to Danny for putting up with you all the time.
Yeah, hey, shout out to Danny. I feel like she doesn't get enough credit, honestly.
Hey, same, man.
Really,
same.
Like, why we don't have a 5 minute.
Why don't we get a wife on?
Dedicated.
Why don't we do this? Let's do a podcast where it's our partners do it. Will that be available, Andy?
Nice. Okay. So me, Danny and Art, Danny,
yeah.
Art, and I will do a podcast together.
Kieran, which one of your hands is going to be representing you? Your left.
Wow.
Fucking, that was good, man. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, Danny, Art, and I look
It's going to
forward
be
to that.
Danny, Art, and a more you branded tube sock.
It's a puppy dog. Oh. Oh, the mic. There we go. There we go.
So yeah, again, I'm gonna pull it back. Shout out to Danny. We appreciate everything that you do. Yeah.
All the Muay Thai widows, basically.
Hey, really shout out to Danny because I done 2 shows before we got she got pregnant with Riker, and she said to me, she goes, now listen, just because we're going to have a kid doesn't mean you're going to become all sensible and not promote. So I want you to keep doing this even when we have a kid. So
That's a keeper.
Shout out. I reckon anyone willing to have a kid with you, Si, is a keeper as is, but that's just going above and beyond, man. That's really incredible. Danny, thank you for supporting Australian Muay Thai and being a real supporter of the cause.
all right, Jerks.
Cool.
On that note,
End it here, Si. Stop recording.
the
Stop
tube
recording
sock,
so we can
we
have
should
our
have left
normal
it there. I'll just get it edited out.
120 seconds afterwards of discussion. Let's
Oh.
press that stop.